Hello and welcome to the K&ME Analytics tutorial. After viewing this video, you'll be able to gather the data and export it into a PDF file for dissemination. So let's get started. First, let's open an internet browser and navigate to Google Analytics. Once we get to the site, we're going to access Analytics, sign in with your Google account. For us, it is knme.org. Then put in your password. You will have gotten this from somebody ahead of time. Sign in. Alright, now while all of these load, okay, they loaded, we have many new accounts. This old one is not active anymore, but we still leave it on there for the data. So let's go into this top one, new, knme.org. Let's view report. Alright, so let's see here. The first thing we want to do is set our dates. In this case, we'll do June 1st to June 30th. Click apply. As I'm doing this tutorial, you'll see that there's a huge discrepancy in the data right now. This is because we switched over from code that a previous employee had put into code that we are using going forward. So you can see how widely the numbers can vary if you don't have the parameters set properly. So let's see, actually, now that we have June 1st to June 30th, there's a couple things we're going to do here. The first thing to do is access last month's report so that you can find out what you need to have in this month's report. So we go to K&ME project. Your files will be different, but analytics. Pulling this out so you can see what we're talking about. 5 and PDF. So bring up last month's PDF. This is how we're going to export the file. And then you can just sort of go through here and see what you need to grab from Google Analytics. We need to grab the overall report, which is this top part right here. Then as we scroll down, this site usage is a part of this overall report. Just as a corollary, I can show you where it is. If you look on Google Analytics, it's right up here and right here. So what we do is I'm on a Mac right now, and so I'm going to make the screen larger. I'm going to use the keyboard commands, Apple and then the plus sign, and I'm going to do that twice, and then that makes the screen bigger. And then I'm going to do another shortcut, Apple Shift and 4, and that gives me the ability to take a screenshot. And so you can see right here is the little crosshairs, and so I'm going to take it down here. I'm going to grab the visits and the site usage. There we go. And then the file shows up here on my desktop. And then go back to last month's report and see what the next thing we need to get is. And it's all traffic sources right here. So we go back into Google Analytics. We go to traffic sources. And then you can see that number is right here. Make sure that you still have the right dates. And then again, to take a screenshot on a Mac is Command Shift 4. Brings up the crosshairs, and then I'm just going to take a screenshot of all traffic sources. Then I'm going to use Expose to go back into last month's report and see what the next thing we need to get is. In this case, it is top pages right here. And as you can see, the way we're doing it, we want to have certain information show up certain ways. So when we go back into Google Analytics to get this information, top pages, we go to content, and then content by title. And then we scroll over here and we want to view it as a performance chart. The numbers come up, make sure the dates are right, and then let's take another screenshot. In this case, I go inside the lines all the way over and let it go. Great. And you can see our screenshot is right here. So we'll go back into last month's document and see what we need to get next. Next is keywords. So go back into Google Analytics, go to, let's see here, would be traffic sources, I believe. Keywords. Scroll down, let's change the view to performance chart. Scroll down again, make sure our dates are right. Take another screenshot. In the margins right here, all the way over. Great, we got our keywords. Use Expose to go back in to the PDF and see what's next. Next, we're going to get browser and OS statistics. So we go back into Google Analytics, and that is going to come from visitors. And then we have, let's see here, browser capabilities, browser and OS. Scroll down, we don't want the pie chart, we want performance again. The dates are right. Internet Explorer and Windows. I wonder if that is ever going to be surpassed. It is, for as long as I've worked here, has been #1. I think at some point though it might, mobile might catch up to that. We'll see. So we take the screenshot, use Expose to go back in and see what's next. Okay, now we want city detail, so we're going to go back in, and in this tutorial this is going to be the last metric that we're actually going to get from Google Analytics. However, going forward we're going to apply this same process to New Mexico in Focus, to Science Central, and to our video pages on YouTube, and incorporate some more metrics. When that happens, we'll add an additional tutorial on the site, but for right now we're just going to keep it simple and get the K&ME stats. So like I said, we go into city detail, and we get that by going back to the dashboard, and then I believe, well, you didn't have to go back to the dashboard, visitors, and then map overlay. Scroll down, let's go click in and get into New Mexico, because that's what we are mostly concerned with. We scroll down, put it into a performance chart, and we see that Albuquerque is by far our biggest market. Go down and let's take a screenshot, and we have our last performance chart. Great, so that's what we need from Google Analytics. Use Expose to come back and see what we're going to get next. The next data we're going to get is from Bitly, which is a link shortening tool, and it also provides analytics data for how many people click the link and where they come from. So use Expose to go back into our internet browser, open up a new tab and type in Bitly, bit.ly. Let's sign in. Our username is K&ME, and I won't say the password now, but if you are doing this tutorial, then you probably know the password. So that takes us in here. We want to go to Analyze. And then Bitly is not as user-friendly as Google Analytics in the sense that they don't offer specific days, if you will. Like I can come in here and I can choose specific days on Google Analytics. In Bitly, your only choices are past 30, past 14, past 7. So for the purposes of this tutorial, we're just going to go with the past 30 days. You can see that we've had 844 clicks on our Bitly link since June 12th. Make this just a little bit bigger again, and here I just made it one size bigger. Go ahead and get a screenshot. Well, first of all, let's reference our PDF file and see what we need to get. So we need to get this top graph, and then referring sites, and this pie chart. So we come back into the browser, take a screenshot of this top graphic, which is sort of the aggregate of all of our stats, and then we come down and we take this refers detail, take that, and we can see that a lot of the refers are coming from PBS. I'm not quite sure what this direct is. I'm going to have to figure that out. The direct, actually, now that I think about it, might be people sending that through email, as opposed to if 21% of people are clicking on it from PBS, that means they're clicking an image or a link on pbs.org that is a bit.ly link that we've put there, and then they're coming to our site or wherever we're directing them to. And to direct, I would imagine that that is email, simply because all of these are actual websites. So we took that screenshot of the refers detail right here, and then we want to take a screenshot of the referring sites. Oh, right there. You can see the corollary between the color of direct and then email clients, IM, air apps, and direct. Okay. So 348, 48, 41%. So we got all of our images from there. We have the overall, the pie chart, and the referring sites. So now we're going to reference our PDF and see what we need to get next. Next is Facebook. Okay, so let's go back into our browser and let's open Facebook. To sign into Facebook, you log in with your personal account. And then you navigate to the page that you want the analytics from. If you're an admin, then you'll be able to access them. So let's go to Edit Page. And then, let's see here, Insights. If you scroll all the way down this left-hand column to Insights, then we see it's starting at, okay, here we get the K&Me Facebook data. So like Google Analytics and Bitly, we are going to make the page bigger so that the graphics are bigger. And you do that on a Mac by pressing Apple and plus. I'm going to do that twice to make it as big as the Google Analytics data. So let's reference the PDF to see exactly what we need from Facebook. In this case, we need users information and interactions. We also need total tab views, external refers, and this gender breakdown. So users and interactions will be on this very first page right here. You want to make sure that your dates are correct up here. Clicking on it, but it doesn't seem to be coming up. Give me just a moment. There we go. Instead of clicking on this pie, it's easier to click on the dates. It brings them up. We're going to set it June 1st to June, make sure you're in June 30th. Apply. It brings up all of our numbers. And so just to run you through what these numbers are, users, we have 51 new likes over this time period, over the month of June, which is pretty good. It means 51 new people, at least one a day probably, decided that they wanted to follow K&Me, which is good because that means that we're able to continue to be in their newsfeed and they will be able to access our information. 843 lifetime likes, monthly active users 560, which means we're at 4.7%. I really like these green percentage, or in some cases red, although you don't see them here, that tells you whether the numbers are going up or down. I think when we present the information, that's mostly what people look at, is just the monthly, are we doing better or worse than we did last month. So let's go ahead and take the screenshot. We want the users, and all the way to the end here, and then scroll down, and then we want the interactions. Okay, great. And then we need to scroll back over here and